Hi everyone, I'm Valerie Trujillo, and this is Love and Light with Crystal Blue Oracle, healing as a tribe and taking responsibility for it. And we're on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay tuned with me for the next hour as I interview Vibrational Sound Healers Dana and Graeson Sanchez. Tune in with me on the second and fourth Tuesday of this month at 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain, as I talk about topics that help you heal and see this life in a different, more profound way. Again, today I have Dana and Graeson Sanchez here to discuss vibrational sound healing. These healers can help heal the healers so they can keep on doing their work. And I'm a healer, and they've healed with me too. So welcome, Graeson and Dana.
Hello. Hello.
So tell me, before everything else, why did you guys get into Reiki and healing practices?
Well, I got into Reiki in concern with healing trauma of the past, specifically like my own childhood trauma, and then working with intergenerational healing and wanting to heal those in my family line, regardless of whether or not I had ever gotten to meet them, so that moving forward and moving back, my family can benefit from the stuff that I've learned in this lifetime. Why did you get into it?
The gentleman that I married and met in 2007 had 5 children that were being viciously abused by their mother. And I fell in love with him instantly, fell in love with kids instantly. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take wooden dolls for children, zombies, kids that weren't dialed up, kids that weren't alive. I was angry at him, and I blamed him a lot for the things the mother was doing to them. And I just kept praying for an answer for how to help these ladies, how to help them with the amount of abuse that they were constantly suffering. And I bumped into a psychic medium here in town who told me he was no longer my teacher, and my next teacher was around the corner, and right around the corner was a Reiki shop. And I went in and I started learning Reiki.
Wow.
It literally happened that way.
That's how spirit works.
Yeah, that's kind of how it fell into my lap too. I just showed up one day to a Reiki place, and 3 weeks later was in a class for Reiki 1 and 2.
That's awesome. So what are some of the lessons that you guys have learned on your Reiki sound healing journey?
I think for me, it's been a lot about patience and kindness towards the self, first and foremost. Learning to work with yourself and with your limitations in order to exceed and move past them, instead of fighting against yourself. Instead of being, a salmon swimming upriver against the current, being a human and taking the game trail next to the river instead, making it a lot easier for myself in life. And really solidifying the idea with the sound healing that we are all vibration and frequency, just as the divine and spirit is, and just as the rest of the world around us is. And that allows us to be more active co-creators in the world around us and experience, I think, just life in general a little bit more fully.
Awesome. Dana?
What was the question?
What are the lessons that you have learned on your Reiki and sound healing journey?
Ooh, we only have an hour. To be in the now would be the most important. You know, if you're thinking about the past or the present, you're not being present. So just being fully present in the now, the moment now, not what could happen, what might happen. There's been a lot of scary predictions, and those can get in you and cause low energy frequencies, fear, doubt, suffering, all of that. So one of the first lessons I learned during class was it's not going to work if you're not present. You can't be a healer if you're not present in the now. The symbols are wonderful. Grace and I have been through all 3 levels of Reiki. I've been through them 3 times because my number 3 is important to me. So the symbols will help you, but it's really more about your own personal belief and faith in knowing you're in the right place at the right time and just knowing. So, yeah. Some of the lessons I've learned. Well, primarily, like Grayson said, is healing myself. There's often group circumstances where I'll walk in and the shaman will tell me, look, I've put you in the corner today. Do you know why? Do you know why I want you over in the north corner? And I'll say, because you don't healing anyone. This is about me, and she'll say yes. So putting myself first so that I have the wherewithal and the strength to help when the big stuff comes for others, so that I'm ready because I'm whole and I'm feeling strong. So I literally care so much about people that I have to like grab that compassion and put it towards me. Activate the Reiki in my hands and put it where I need it. I used to have a habit of reaching out and telling all the magicians in my life, I need a little Reiki, I need this. But now I'm more likely to sit in meditation with myself first before reaching for others. And 9 times out of 10, I get exactly what I need, usually within moments. It's pretty instant. So the lesson I learned is to take care of myself.
That's good. That is true. As healers, that's the first thing we're told to do. Can't heal anybody till we heal ourselves. So what started you on the sound healing journey? Because we talked about the Reiki. What started you there?
When my husband died 5 years ago, he left me about 8 song bowls. And I had never been interested in them and never touched them. He has a workshop in our home. And that was sort of his place. He didn't like the word man cave. That was his shop. And he could fix any toy, anything at all. But what he usually did in there was meditate and play songbooks. That was his space. And I mean, we were welcome in there. But when he died, the bowls kept telling me to come sit with them. And I was in such a state of hard grief that I didn't think about the fact that I was hearing things. I just went and sat with them. And a friend of mine kept saying, you really should take this class that the Vibrational Sound Association is offering in Denver. She's like, I just keep seeing you there. I keep seeing you there. Luckily, most of my friends are really talented psychics. So there's a 6-day class that this Nebraska business offers. And I went to Denver with my husband's songbook. And the gentleman that runs it, his name is Jeff too. My husband's name is Jeff. So these synchronicities are all just messages that I'm on the right path. So he told me what all the notes were for the bowls I already had. He showed me how to play them. And I took that 6-day class. I was in such a state of grief that I actually returned 2 years later and took the class again. Just to sort of pick up anything I missed, which I'm very happy that I did. So I've been doubly certified in the vibrational sound healing. And as a healer, I'm one of those people that when I get on a table, I'm highly aware. I don't go astral. I don't mez out. I don't sleep. I'm like aware of everything that's happening. When they put those song bowls on me, they use the bowls to move energy through the body, heavy bowls. When they put them on me, I went astral immediately. So because I received so deeply, I was like, I'm doing this. I am gonna do this. So that really got me started. And we were in a family band together when the girls were at their worst and things were really hard. We get the microphone out, my husband start playing the guitar, and we'd all sing as a family. And so I knew from that experience, from having drum sets and guitars and basses in my living room all my life, that music was the answer. I knew that. I just didn't stop intellectually to put that together until he died and it was just me. And I felt desperate for the answer to how to bring joy back into our lives, because I know that's how we're designed to live, and that he wouldn't want us to be suffering and longing. So I use his song bowls. I use the bowls that I bought on different retreats with this vibrational sound healing in Nebraska. I use bowls. I've also worked with an individual named Li Fong, and she comes to town once a year, and she is an intuitive sound healer, and she's an 8th generation sound healer. So she is also one of my teachers that has taught me things with the bells and the rattles and various other instruments along with the bowls. And she plays like in a circle where you have people come and just listen. I put the bowls on the body and I move the energy that way, or activate chakras that way, or whatever. It could be a variety of things. I do what I'm guided to do. It's never the same twice. But it is using the bowls on the body and the weight and comfort of the bowls. So to change and tune frequencies. And my goal every day is to be the sound, sight, touch, smell, and frequency of love.
Awesome. So tell me, Graeson, what are the important things to know before getting into Reiki?
So when you're getting into Reiki initially, I think, to be honest, the important things to know are really just your why. Like, why is it that you want to explore a healing modality of any kind, but specifically Reiki? Because Reiki is a healing modality of channeling the energy versus being the creator of the energy yourself. You're channeling spirit energy guided by spirit through you to the client. You're not making the energy yourself. And a lot of people initially, especially unfortunately younger people, first get into healing modalities because of, one moment, a lot of younger people tend to get into healing modalities initially looking for power or a way to control. And Reiki doesn't offer power or control in the sense of being able to take over a situation that you wouldn't already have control of, but it does allow you to take control in a situation you could have control in, but you were lacking the self-confidence or the self-awareness to take control in that situation. And I think that that's very humbling for a lot of people that initially get into healing modalities, searching for ways to change their life. Instead, they find that within themselves, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. A lot of it, like I said, for me, my original why initially was just a lot of healing myself and my family here and now, because I come from a very broken family history. But I also think your why and your important reasons develop within your journey, within those first few steps. Because I didn't realize how much I wanted to heal intergenerational trauma until like my second time taking master level Reiki and realizing that one of the symbols we work with is called distance symbol, and realizing that distance means any time in the space-time continuum. It doesn't just mean in this plane of existence. And that broke a lot of barriers for me being able to send healing back to my ancestors who dealt so much with, you know, the changing times of colonialism and migration and just the passage of time in general. And so I think it's important to have a general idea of your why, but I don't think it's super pivotal to concern yourself on the prerequisites of knowledge, especially if you're taking a Reiki class like the one that we offer, where we teach not just Reiki, but also kind of like the fundamentals of spirituality 101 is kind of how we like to talk about it, where we will teach like chakras and auras, but also how to set an altar space, what is sacred space, how can you protect your sacred energy, especially grounding cords. We talk a lot about grounding cords and how important that is the higher you get in your work. So I think that depending on your teacher, you're always going to learn exactly what you need to know. But I think it's important to seek out a teacher who will cover those basics if you're not familiar with those, or even if you are, because we all could use a refresher on grounding every once in a while.
Definitely, because there's not just my way of seeing things, there's your way of seeing things and Dana's way of seeing things, and everybody has their own way of seeing things and can offer something more beneficial to what we already know.
Exactly, which is why there doesn't need to be that competition over, you know, different Reiki practitioners or Reiki teachers and their clientele, because there is a Reiki teacher or more than one Reiki teacher for every single student. I've had several Reiki teachers in my journey, and I benefited greatly from every single one of them. So it definitely helps to eliminate that scarcity mindset in a lot of ways too.
That's good. That's good. So how has Reiki and sound healing benefited you?
So many ways. Dang, we only have an hour. I guess the most important way that Reiki or sound healing has benefited me in my life is something that we were actually just talking about before we came onto the show, is that it gives a really good starting point and like a really solid foundation for any other spiritual work you want to do. Because Reiki comes with those built-in safeguards of holy fire and divine protection, it allows you to explore things like shamanism and whatever other forms of healing modalities you feel called to, without worrying so much about coming in contact with negative entities, because you already have a way of counteracting that negative energy. You're already set up with that foundation of divine love, and with that solid foundation of unconditional love that comes with the teachings of Reiki, and knowing that no matter what else I explore in the world, I'm going to be safe. I'm protected because I am a channel and a hollow bone for that which is all light and good and divine in this world. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's all rainbows and sunshine either. My most pivotal benefit beyond that in Reiki is how well Reiki and sound healing together, but separately as well, can facilitate shadow work. And how you are in this sacred container all of the time once you're attuned to those Reiki energies, to whenever you need to process those shadows, you can do that without having to necessarily set a sacred formal space, because you are a sacred formal space before the Reiki class, but especially after. And it just makes it that much better to have the knowledge to set a sacred space if you feel called to do that shadow work. So I think, and within that, the benefits then continue to just snowball each other, because once you start doing the shadow work and you're supported in that with community and with Reiki, everything else just becomes exponentially beneficial in your life because you're doing the work. And when you start doing the work, the universe is like, heck yeah, high five. Here's all of your rewards that have been waiting for you.
That's pretty true. So Dana,
Thank you.
what are the things that are important to you before you teach Reiki, before, like me, going to be taking a class? What is important for me to know?
Well, we generally send an email out the week before so that you'll have hard copy instructions, but um, basic practices like better care for your body, no sugar, no coffee, no gluten. You know, red meat is also better to avoid during that week, so that you can become that hollow bone, so that you can be a clear channel. Avoiding conflict, not watching the news, no watching, serial killer stuff on the TV, none of that.
Dang it, I can't watch my vampire movies.
I know, it's a
Just that
struggle.
week, also, having meditation and writing down your intentions and for what you want to receive from the class, and having a connection to that intention in your meditation every day. So
Awesome.
basics, but we do send a little, just little instructions so that you have an idea of what to expect. I also typically send a little outline of the syllabus too, so people know what we're doing when. And it tends to be very organic and take its own shape, like all classes I've been to in healing. So we don't have to stick with it, but
Yeah.
it's just a little guideline so we all know what to expect.
Well, that's cool.
And as much as you prepare for it is as much as you'll get out of it. So I don't generally teach people that aren't ready or that don't want to. Most people come very prepared. The young man we taught most recently is joining the military today and leaving today, Cheyenne, to go. And he just came ready, and he taught us so much, as I'm sure you will as well. It's very reciprocal. It's not just one-sided.
Go ahead. Sorry. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen.
My home phone never rings, and it rang too, and it never rings.
Y'all with your landlines and stuff.
So how has the sound healing and the Reiki benefited you in what you're doing, just in your life?
Well, it answered the question, what am I supposed to be doing? I kept thinking, as a widow, I work for corporate America, and I kept feeling like this gigantic hole. Like, what am I supposed to be doing? I love my job during the day, but it's not fulfilling my spirit. And my mother was a geriatric nurse practitioner. I tried to be a nurse for 2 weeks, but every time somebody vomited, I sort of vomited too. So that didn't work out. But I knew I was going to be a nurse. And, here it is 20, 25 years later, and I stumbled into not just taking Reiki, but knowing in my first Reiki class that I would be a teacher. Knowing when I met Graeson that he would be a big part of my life. We formed a family because of Reiki. We don't teach people and then bye. We teach people and we end up 9 times out of 10 either being friends or family with them. They become a part because we're all here to do the same thing, be the light and bring in the light. And you feel it when you heart to heart meet someone that's in that same place as yourself. So, and as far as the sound healing, there are no other sound healers here that move the bowls. So the only time I get that is if I travel to Nebraska, or try to do it myself, which Graeson laughs at me because I try some pretty abnormal positions to song bowl myself sometimes. I got a backache. I'll be back here with this big bowl trying to get it myself or instructing him what to do. So yeah, I just answered the question of what I'm supposed to be doing. And as soon as I realized it's to heal the healers, I watch a lot of different shamans and healers like yourself hold big energy and do big work. And then after a show, get home and just be toast for days. And I'm the girl that can help with that. When you go to that place, I can restore. And that really makes me happy because think of all the people that are affected by you being restored or Graeson being restored or even me being restored. So
That's pretty cool. It's something is to be said for the fact that you are helping the healers. I'll talk more about my experience with you in after the commercial, but it's important that we all have someone to go to, because yeah, there's times we can heal ourselves, we can do our own healings and clearing ourselves, but sometimes there's just that point where you get too tired and you need someone there. So that's been pretty cool.
Well, yeah, especially because like a therapist needs a therapist sometimes. Healers need healers too.
Exactly.
It's the two of us. So it's not just one of us lifting you up and helping you get into that better frequency. It's both of us, which I like threes. So that makes three of us in the room. And it's beneficial to everyone. Reiki's not one-sided. So I'm receiving as I'm giving.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to get ready now for our break. You're listening to Love and Light with Crystal Blue Oracle, healing as a tribe and taking responsibility for it. And we're on Transformation Talk Radio, and I'm Valerie Trujillo. We're going to take this really quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about this fascinating subject of sound healing, Reiki, and Dana and Grayson. So we'll see you in a minute. Thank you.
Imagine walking into the healing studio and seeing the sacred tools. Dana Baggs uses her voice to chant and facilitate your experience for the ultimate connection with divinity and spirit. Dana places song bowls over and around your body, moving them up and down during the healing, giving a full body massage which helps stimulate blood flow, relaxation, improve sleep, lower stress, reduce chronic pain, blood pressure, anxiety, and depression. Grayson works with Reiki and Curanderismo to facilitate grief and trauma processing. His work is aimed at being trauma-informed, centered in harm reduction. When the healing is complete, you will feel rested, rejuvenated, and ready to do your healing work. Let them help you live your higher purpose and heal you so you can continue to heal others. Contact them at 970-920-0510 or email at daynasings13@yahoo.com.
We're back on Love and Light with Crystal Blue Oracle, healing as a tribe and taking responsibility for it. And I'm Valerie Trujillo, and we're on Transformation Talk Radio. And I am talking with healers Dana Baggs and Graeson Sanchez about sound healing and how it works, and Reiki and the benefits of being a client. So now we're going to talk one more question, and then we're going to talk about the actual session. So guys, what has Reiki done that's changed your life day to day? Or how has it? I'm sorry.
I think for me personally, day to day, Reiki really helped get a routine of spiritual practice in place, because once you take the class, it's recommended that for at least 21 days after the class, you really sit and work with the symbols if you've taken a class that has the symbols in it. And really meditating on those energies and working with those symbols with yourself, more so than on anyone else at first, and really applying them to your own life. And that helped give me a meditation routine, which wasn't in place until after I took Reiki 1 and 2. And beyond that, day to day, it's helped me have a lot more openness of heart, and just, I mean, really in all of my chakras, but a lot in the heart center and throat center, being able to speak up more when things either need to get done, or when I need help, or when I notice that someone else needs help and they're not speaking up about it. Having that heart center to be like, hey, I'm noticing you're kind of struggling, and I would be able to help you at least a little bit if you would just allow me to do so. And day to day, that's really helped me not only manifest the life that I want to live, but manifest for those around me their highest purpose and the life that they want to live, because everything we do is a ripple effect. And so I work to change my life every day with Reiki, because I want to change everyone else's lives around me for the better. And Reiki is like the crystal, it's like the clear quartz to the battery. It amplifies everything.
Cool. Dana, do you have anything to add?
For my day-to-day life, I mean, back when I first started Reiki, I was living in fear every day. What more could happen to harm the children? Now I think, what this or something better. What more could happen? That's a miracle. And nothing but miracles has happened since my husband died. Nothing but wonderful, miraculous things. They're not my stepdaughters. They're not my foster children. I adopted them, and all kinds of just really beautiful, wonderful things have happened. If I'm very sensitive to going in places, like you go to stay in a hotel and I'm that girl that's like, not this room. Nothing wrong with the room. I'm just saying not this room. So there is a symbol called the power symbol, Xochi Graeson, and if it's basically means place the power of the universe here now. And if I draw Xochi Graeson, floors, walls, ceilings, and I'm still uncomfortable an hour later, I will switch rooms. I used to be way too shy, way too questionable of my feelers to do things like that. And now I just immediately use my tools. And if I'm still not feeling better, use my voice. And our voice is one of our number one best healing instruments we have.
Exactly. Well, I went and had a session with the two of you, and didn't, of course, know what to expect, but I had no doubts, qualms, anything about it. I knew I was going to get a healing. I just didn't know to what extent the healing was going to be. Your healing space is very calming, very relaxing. And I didn't go anywhere. I wanted to stay present and feel everything. And I felt the heaviness on my heart when you put the bowl there. I didn't get scared. I knew I could breathe. I was fine. And I knew you guys were there, so I wasn't worried. Hearing the music, you're singing, everything, all the tools, just, it felt like it permeated my soul. And when I got done, I was extremely relaxed. I was comfortable. We all talked for a while. I mean, we could have probably stayed there talking about everything if Savannah, my daughter, didn't have to go home. But yeah, and what happened miraculously for me afterwards is what was the big thing. I went home and drank water and rested like I should have. And then a couple days later, my daughter did tarot on me, and she told me that I have to heal something from my past. And I knew right away what it was. So I went home and I dowsed, asked my questions, found out what I needed to heal. And it was from a past life. And I did the healing. I went in and did a healing session in my sacred space, in my journey as a shaman practitioner and angelic energy healer. And I went and did a healing on my previous life self for a situation that happened that I hadn't forgiven myself for. And that was huge. I didn't know that I could do that. And I was just guided the whole time by my guides. This is what you need to do, and it's okay. And it's opened up my gifts more. After I did that, I get clear downloads quickly. I did readings at the Body, Mind, Spirit in Denver, and I was on point with everybody. I felt so good. I connected with deceased loved ones, everything. I was just on point, and I was very thankful. And it's what I wanted to do, to help people, to give them their own healing, even through a reading. So I want you guys to know that I'm very thankful for the healing. It's helped me so much, and I'm going to be one of your biggest cheerleaders, or I am, I should say.
Thank you.
That's very humbling to hear, especially past life work. It's one of those things so difficult to do because there's so many of those logical brain barriers that say we can't do that. And to know that you broke through that and was able to hold that space for yourself is both humbling and just brings unlimited gratitude up for me as well.
That's good, because I mean it shows me not only my personal power and acknowledging it, but acknowledging you guys and your power and your ability to be able to heal and to help me do that. I couldn't have done it I don't think I could have done it without you. I was drawn to you guys for that, and everything that we're doing now it happened for a reason. And I'm excited because the next thing we have is you're going to be having a Reiki class that me and my daughter are already signed up for. Talk about that a little bit.
I'm so excited for that class. I love teaching. Teaching is one of my favorite parts, I think, of the whole gig is getting to share that knowledge. It's what I do when I'm doing gardening work, is largely just teaching people, because we should all have the knowledge to do these things ourselves. So the class that we're teaching is May 8th and 9th, so the weekend of Mother's Day, which, to be honest, I think is great, because that's a great gift to give to someone in your life that you really love and want to honor that mother energy. Like being able to say, here, I signed you up for this class. You don't have to worry about paying for it. I paid for it. Put this energy into yourself. And I think that's super cool. We capped the class at 5 students. So there's the 2 of you, you and your daughter, and then we're still open for 3 more spots. I do have a prospective person to take up the 3rd spot, or one of the 3 spots. So that leaves 2 spaces still open for that class. And we take requests for students up until about 48 hours before the class. You're open to sign up, and we don't ask for a deposit, but we do ask that payment takes place at the beginning of class up front or before the class in the case of an exchange. What else do you want to touch on about the class?
Gosh, we kind of covered it all.
That's why you take notes.
Yeah, we decided not to have it at my healing studio because that is rather small and intimate for a reason. So we're going to have it here at my home, which is got the most, really nice backyard and a really nice space by the fire. And we thought, well, why do it in a conference room? Why on a spring weekend be stuck indoors? And this way also, if people need to, go outside for a few minutes on the breaks or lunch, lots of earth energy, lots of grounding is important during these things, because some people will have natural barriers to believing what I can put my hands like this and I can radiate energy at you and you feel better. There's resistance at times, and I was one of the biggest resistors, but it's a lot easier to clear that if you're comfortable. So my goal with opening up my home is to create even more comfort for people to feel at home, and not be. My option was my small studio, or we have a conference room that's rather large, but it's very
business
aloof and cold and just not the right atmosphere we want to create, not the right lighting, not the right anything. So we talked about it recently and we're like, yeah, let's do it at the house. So we've done a lot of Reiki things here before. It's just been a while. So COVID, right? But now we're gonna do it at the home and just make it a little more comfortable, a little less. We're pretty relaxed teachers. It's not a real strict regimen. And there's a lot of free flow that happens with the questions for students. And we allow that to be very organic, like I said, and just flow. So, and there are times too when someone will really have enough resistance that maybe they need a little bit of healing for a minute. So we always ask people, speak up, raise your hand. You're really feeling scared or nervous and it's blocking you, then let's all as a group here get some healing going, or maybe do a one-on-one healing for a few minutes to help you feel a little more comfortable. And then the best part is, like the final exam is we get to receive from the students the last day. So that's, how could you not love this life?
Yeah.
So.
That and
Cool.
one of the other cool perks about teaching and doing the work in this space is that in all points of the property that this house sits on, there's gardens. So you're always surrounded by happy, thriving garden and plant life. And we also have like a number of houseplants within the home that are thriving. And it helps to bring more of that earth energy in, because the higher we go up into these energy works and these healings, I think the closer to earth we can be, the better. And in that business building with our studio and the conference room, we're separated so much from that natural world, which is good for a session because it helps create that container. But when we're wanting to teach people, we want to prove that that energy can be applicable in day-to-day life. And I think that learning it in a home setting, surrounded by people living their lives, is the best way to show you how integrated that energy becomes in your day-to-day life. I'm really excited for the class. It's also one of the first early classes that I'm doing. So instead of starting at like 8 or 9 in the morning, our class is starting at 7 and we'll be out by 3, which still leaves daylight time, which I think is super cool, because not only it being Mother's Day weekend, but also just being a spring weekend, it gives us that opportunity to go outside and do the homework after class, so that you're not just sitting inside like, oh, well, I know this cool thing, but I wish I could sit outside and read my books. Well, you can, because it's still light out and it'll be fairly decent. So
That's awesome. So Dana, what is it you have on your lap?
Oh, this is my Mesa. Grayson's is holding up the camera. We always have our Mesa. We hike a lot, and we do Reiki hikes sometimes up to Vitabu, which is sacred land here. And we generally have our Mesas. So, and you were in class with me, so
Yes, I was.
I heard about the Mesa. So, but I had been working with a shaman here in Cheyenne for about 10 years, and every time I saw him and he had his Mesa, I just had like this lust for his Mesa. And so I saw him the other day, and I'm like, I have a Mesa. And he's like, oh my. So I've got my own now, and I take it with me. And, I had a healing experiences this weekend in ceremony slept on a sleeping bag on the floor. You know how that is. You don't get done sometimes till after midnight, 12:01. Slept in communal spaces and was a little bit like, ooh, and I slept with my Mesa, and it's my heart, it's my altar, it's my portable altar. So
Big energy.
Yeah.
big energy.
Put things you love in it and wrap things that you love around it and carry it with you. And you can also, I put it on the client's heart or back quite often when I'm guided. So
That's what I do too.
People tell
during
me
the
they
healings.
feel like the heartbeat, like, what did you put on me? Like I felt it like thumping like a heart, and it just makes me giggle. So
It's true, because it's powerful, and people don't realize that until you tell them what it is, and they're like, what? It was that?
which we just saw you great, but the camera would fall. His is super adorable. It's much more, his is always more compact. Mine comes loose a lot. I shake it a lot at people. So it comes loose a lot more. And his is like super compact.
Mine also has, I think, maybe fewer items in it right now.
Yes.
Because the best part about mesas is opening them up and feeding them, rearranging and working with what you have placed in there. And mine recently had a lot of weight loss. So my little mesa, he's very like neat in a square, kind of looks like a perfectly wrapped package sometimes, but with one floppy corner.
That's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, well, our tools, they gain that personality. So like the personalities of my mesa and my staffs and the bowls, like they all become their own little beings that help us in the work. They're just so cool. I never go anywhere without my mesa. I think I take that thing everywhere nowadays.
Well, I'll probably be taking mine this weekend too, because going out of town, just the whole weekend. But
Well, all of your tools are so beautiful. You're such a craftsman. I love your tools.
thank you. And that being said, I have not forgot about you.
Oh, she's gonna make me.
I'm making her a wand. She's like a little kid.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it though. I love it. It's important because I have to find the right. I'm not sure if I'm going to use wood or if I'm going to use a combination of wood and selenite. I'm thinking both. And I've got feathers. I'm going to be at a show this coming weekend, so I'm looking for specific crystals that call to me.
Thank you. I'm not in a hurry. I know it'll be, I don't know, it'll be magic, whatever you decide.
Grayson, would you like a wand?
Oh,
Yes,
Oh,
I would love
Okay. Okay. So
I would be greatly honored, honestly, to have a piece of your work on my altar and in my sessions. That would be really awesome.
Awesome. I'm excited for that. It gives me time to work on it because I'm putting intentions, and you know, the healing intentions have to be there, and the love's already there. The intention of giving back is already there. So finding the right things that call to me and working on the things that I need to do to put it together.
Yeah,
And
that can
then
be a powerful part of the work.
it is because technically I open up the medicine wheel and do my own few-minute meditation, clear my product, clear all the crafts that I'm going to use, and set the ambiance in the room, put on some music, and just start doing what I need to do. And let spirit call to me and tell me, this is what you need, this is what you need. And that's why you got that. So you're like, cool.
That's how I do all of my 2D work, because as creative as I can be with making tools and stuff, it's mostly out of necessity of growing up in a place where I didn't have that kind of stuff. But with my art and drawing, that's very much how I set the space for it. You sit down in ceremony and you turn on the right music and you set that sacred container so that what you create, whether it be a sacred tool or a sacred piece of hanging artwork, has all of the intention from every individual particle that goes into that, and then also all of the energy of that moment that you're calling forward. And I think it's just so cool, especially once it's completed and you put that seal of approval, both, you know, physically being like, this is done, and spiritually closing that space and closing down that circle and winding it all back down, because it all winds back down into what you've created and becomes a permanent battery of that sacred moment in time. And I just think it's so cool. Like, we live in such a fascinating world, and people forget that oftentimes simple things like creating can be the most powerful and sacred practice that we have. And it's one of those that's uniquely earthly in a lot of ways.
And I think what I've learned recently is that a lot of people are afraid to own their craft because they think that you have to be quote unquote a professional because people sell their stuff. It's like, that shouldn't stop you from channeling into it and trying to get the most from it, from expressing yourself.
Oh yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in the journey as a whole, is how absolutely imperative authenticity of self and learning to just, I mean, to be frank, just kind of like grab yourself by the seat of your pants and throw yourself into the fire and be like, no, we're going to do this for the benefit of myself and all 3,000 of my ancestors and all 3,000 of my ancestors to come. Because I want to be not only a shining star, but a pivotal point in my family's healing. And I just think that's so cool. We're so cool. Guys, we do such cool work. I don't know if you knew that or not, but we're like all three of us.
He's still there?
Yep.
It
So
kind of got,
you froze like
I was like, hello.
Hello. I just think it's so cool, all the work the three of us do, is what I was saying when that cut out.
It is very cool. Well, guys, I want to thank you both, Dana Baggs and Graeson Sanchez, for sharing such great information. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Love and Light with Crystal Blue Oracle, healing as a tribe and taking responsibility for it. I had a wonderful time, and I'm so thankful for you guys coming in to do this show, and blessed by the future. I want everyone to join me for my last two shows, April 27th, when I'll be interviewing Brian Besco from Twisted Sage. He's the owner. And on May 11th, when my last show will be me interviewing intuitive psychic Savannah Barba, who also happens to be my daughter. And it's at 4 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Mountain. Also, just so people know, I will be at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo in Colorado Springs this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and at the Bella Ulissa Fair in Brighton on April 24th and 25th. Anybody wants more information, go to my website, crystalblueoracle.com. Also, Dana, Graeson, give your information really quick.
You can find me on Instagram at Xochi's Cottage, XOCHI, and then the word cottage, no spaces, no caps. That's where all of my everything is. It's just that Instagram handle.
And I have Vibrational Sound Healing is my Facebook, Vibrational Sound Healing LLC, or Dana Baggs. They're both connected. Or just call me, which is, I can give you my phone number, 307-920-0510, or email danasings13@yahoo.com.
Awesome. Thank you guys again. And everyone, thank you so much. We'll see you on April 27th. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for listening to Love and Light with the Crystal Blue Oracle, healing as a tribe and taking responsibility for it. Tune in next time for more powerful conversations, spiritually crafted to jumpstart your healing journey so you can own your spiritual gifts. And in turn, shed that light on the people around you so they can do the same. Embrace the confusion, the fear, the strength. Let go of your limiting beliefs. Your healing is in your hands, and it's time to take action. Find your tribe, heal together, in love and light. For more information about Valerie and her services, visit crystalblueoracle.com.